Okay. So in previous session, we had gone through the overview of the Salesforce CPQ. Okay. So we looked at how the CPQ is divided into four categories, like product catalog is important, um, the configuration part is important, and how we do the amendments and renewals, and how we send the proposals to the customers. Okay. So today we are going to explore about the best practices for any Salesforce CPQ implementation. Okay, what are the best practices and what we need to follow the best practices whenever we are going to implement the Salesforce CPQ project for any customer. Okay, so CPQ implementation is not and different from any standard Salesforce implementation. Okay, it is kind of same, and we need to follow the same standard best practices, right? So CPQ implementation is also a transformation product because customer is transforming from another system to Salesforce CPQ, and we need to think about additional best practices whenever our customer is going to transform the technology or tool from another ERP system or something, any kind of third party app, and he is now decided to implement the Salesforce CPQ. So that time we need to think about the additional best practices. What are the best practices? Okay, so truly we need to understand like what is that company's sales processes. Okay, we have to analyze the current sales process of existing, their how their sales reps are selling their products, how they are doing the quotes. Okay, so how they are closing their deals, right? If there any obstacle to them, if they are struggling to close the deals, right? So if they have any disconnected systems, right, generically if the system is implemented or not, that kind of thing we have to think about that. Okay, so there needs to be very strong business case for bringing CPQ into Salesforce environment. So but what that business case in can vary widely from client to client. Okay, so each time business can differ. Okay, each time whatever you are thinking and whatever your parameters you are applying for the business, they can be vary for business to business, right? So clearly we need to define the implementation objectives first. Okay, and identify the right time when we need to implement the CPQ, right? So first of all, go to the next slide. We need to define like what are the main aspects in the CPQ and what the customer is looking for. Okay, what is the CPQ is providing and what is the customer is asking for. So by Salesforce CPQ side, we all know that we have configured and implemented and executed lot of project only in that three aspects. Okay, that configure, price and quote, right? So how does it work? How does it work in the configure? How we can define our products, how we can define our configuration things like exclusions, and if there are any dependencies in the products, that can we can define, and automation by using product rule, option constraint, that kind of thing we have to define in the configuration. In the pricing thing, manufacturing cost, what is that product's manufacturing cost, what is like a surcharge on that product, what is the shipping charges on that product, all the things that we need to define first whenever we are going to implement any project for the customer, right? So competitor price, some of the businesses are looking to give an additional discounts or the automated discounts to the customer. Okay, because of there are a lot of the same product is available in the market by other competitors, right? So that time we we need to analyze the price thing, and we get the data from customer that how much pricing you have defined for your products, right? And in which condition or on which criteria you are applying the discounts for your product, right? Then third one is quote. Quote is like approval. When we if we need an approval process, first of all we have to define, is there any need to implement the standard approval process into the Salesforce system, right? Like if sales rep or product man, if sales rep is applying the additional discount manually, right? But it is the greater than the threshold, whatever threshold they have defined, right? So if it is the greater than, then that time is there any need that we need to trigger the approval process to his sales manager or product manager or VP of the sales, right? So that kind of thing we need to define before. Then document generation, how we are going to generate the document, right? So what is the acceptance of the client, right? So if the client is need to see that document by taking like the logo, or if the client wants to see the logo on the document, the terms and conditions on the document, right, and the policy of the document, or the any information related, product code, product name, or the description of that product, any kind of thing, right? So we can define that how we can present the document to the customer, right? And amendment and renewal, how we can do the amendment to the customer. So just go to the next slide and we will look into the like in detail.
Hi, Irfan. Sorry, Irfan. Uh, have you shared your screen? Since I am not able to see screen.
Oh, sorry, man. Are you able to see now screen?
Yes, for now,
Okay.
yes.
You have to tell me before. Okay, thank you anyway. So this is like a main aspects I was talking about. So just let's go in detail, like how, what are the thing that we need to define in the configure, right? So in the configuration, we need to identify our exclusions, right? Exclusion means, for example, if we are selecting or if we are selling the product, we have two products, okay? And from that two products, there is a requirement from the customer that you can sell any of the one, right? Not two products at a time. So that time we have to identify how many products are there before going to implementation. This thing I am going to explain you about. Whenever you are thinking to implement the Salesforce CPQ project, before that we have to consider these things, right? So how many products are there that we need to exclude on the basis of selection, right? So can some products of services not to be sold any specific regions, right, due to company policies or domestic international regulation or tax issues, right? So or custom issues. So that kind of thing we have to define, that which product is going to be sold in which country or which region, okay? So the second is like identify our dependencies, right? So what are the dependencies, what is the business logic customer is asking for, okay? So for example, if there is a dependency of the quantity for any product, right? If the sales rep is selling the product to the customer, so that product should be sold in a desired quantity, right? Sometimes we sell the product this, that is we have the default quantity for any product as a one, right? But sometimes in the business requirement we can't purchase the product in single quantity. They ask to purchase in the quantity of 2 or 5 or 10, that kind of thing, right? So there we can identify if there are any kind of dependencies, if there are any kind of dependencies to product, right? If I am selecting the product 1, then my product 2 should be automatically selected, or there is a required that I should select the product B, okay? So that kind of dependencies. Or I can't select the product B, either I have not selected the product A, okay? So that are the things we need to consider. The automation is like something in the configuration thing, the guided selling we can implement to the customer, right? By answering some questions, sales rep will get on some like pop-up windows to and the Salesforce CPQ will ask to the sales rep that what are you looking for, which product you are going to sell today, right? So any hardware product or software product, that kind of thing, all the configuration is automatically we can capture by using guided selling. Okay, and the product rules are there, right? We can select or we can validate or we can give an alert rule for the by using the product rule. So there's all the things we have to define before going to implement the Salesforce CPQ. Like how many product rules we are going to implement, is there anything where we need to implement the product rule, or we can run our process by using just option constraint, right? So that are the things we need to decide in the configuration thing. The next is pricing. As I said, the key to automate and standardize the pricing model, we have to define our pricing model should be as like a standard as much as possible. Okay, like what is our what is our pricing model, what kind of pricing method we are going to apply, right? So is there a standard list price, right? Is there is there a cost based price or block based price or POT product? That kind of thing we need to define first by understanding and getting the data from the customer, right? So and our pricing model automatically apply the discounts as well, right? The volume based discount, the term based discount, client specific pricing, right? The volume based discount, where in the Salesforce CPQ we can achieve it by using the discount schedules separately, right? There is a uh, discount schedule records that has been provided by the Salesforce CPQ. Term based discount as well. In the volume based discount, we can check the and apply the discount on the basis of quantity, what quantity is purchasing by the customer. And the term based discount, like how many years that contract is going to be generated with the customer, right? If the customer is creating the contract or making the contract more than 3 years, then if the customer is asking, if my any client is asking for the like a contract for more than 3 years, then I have to apply the 10% additional discount to my customers. So that time we use the term based discount, right? So another things are like all the things we can adjust the prices by using price rules and like just a price books and a standard price book and custom price book. So before that we have to understand, is there any requirement from the customer, if they are asking for the like a straightforward pricing or the complexity in the pricing, right? So if there is a straightforward pricing, we have we have the standard price book, like where we can add the products and we can give an default prices to each and every product, right? If we need the custom price books, right, on the basis of region, on the basis of like if we are using the multiple currencies enabled in our system, right? The sometimes in the businesses the product is going to be sell in each and every uh, region, right? So on that time the customer the company wants that our product is going to be sell in each and every region. So we want to sell that product in the respective currencies of that countries, right? For example, if product is going to be sell in India, then currency will be by default as INR. If the product is going to be sell in UK, then currency will be in euro, right? So that kind of thing we can enable in the multiple currencies. But that all things, as I'm repeatedly saying this, we need to collect the data from the customer before going to implement all of these things. Okay, so what is the pricing method is like what is the pricing method is the customer is going to be adopt. Okay, is that the straightforward pricing, or is that we can achieve by using custom price books, or again in the next step, if customer is looking for more complex pricing, where we can apply the price rules by applying the like the conditions, on the basis of conditions we can apply and we can update the prices for the particular products. Okay, coming to the next slide. As we discussed in the code, okay, so code, as we need, first we need to check that we have, if we have a need, that our code should be approved internally, right? As I said, if sales rep is applying the discount greater than threshold, whatever threshold there is defined from the system, in the system, and that time if sales rep is applying the discounts greater than that threshold, that time we need to trigger the approval process, right? uh, where the manager of that sales rep or product manager or VP of that sales company, right? So he will be approve the quote, and after that, that quote will be sent to the customer, right? So that kind of thing we need to consider if there is a need of the standard approval process. I'm not talking about the advanced approval process here, okay? I'm just talking about the standard approval process. The document generation, which tool we are going to use if there is no need, okay? We have to check and we have to look out into the customer's needs, okay? If they don't need any third party app, right? There are lot of third party app, DocuSign, the Certify, and the PandaDoc, and the Conga, all of the things there are. But if there is a no need to any customer, then we can generate the document by our own system, that is CPQ is providing the code templates to inside the Salesforce CPQ managed package, right? So we can choose that standard code templates, okay, which comes with the CPQ managed package, and we can show to the customer that we can define and we can reduce the cost that we can have if we are integrating our system with the document generation tool, right? So as I said, client acceptance is also needed. Whenever you we send the code and we send the output to the client, right? So that time we need the approval from the client, right? The approval, that time we use the e-signature tool, right? To get the approval, by getting the signatures on that document, we can say that after getting the signature we can close the deal, right? So we have closed the deal and we have now the contract from the customer, right? The amendment and renewals also there in the code, right? So whenever we are implementing the Salesforce CPQ project, that time we have to ask to the customer as well, right? If your business is something like your customers can be come again after making the contract, if they are coming again back and asking to change the contract or asking to like reduce the quantity or add the product or cancellation of that product, okay? So if there is any need, then we have to define the amendment and renewals as well. So to create the amendment and renewal, the 70% part has been covered by the Salesforce CPQ. There is already an automation, right? When we check some, there are some checkbox fields, so just we have to check that fields, and the contract being generated after contract generation, when we amend that contract by using click amend button on the contract object, we will create an ghost code for us where we can change the quantity, where we can add and cancel the product, okay? So that all kind of things we have to put in the picture, okay? What are the CPQ benefits, okay? Why we are going to implement the Salesforce CPQ for the clients as well and for the customers as well? So there will be a more visibility to the customers, right? If there, doesn't matter if there is a B2B business or B2C business, okay? When we are using the CPQ, there is a more visibility, right? We can check the KPIs and we can analyze by using the reports in the Salesforce CPQ, right? How much sale and how much contract has been generated, how much renewals are pending there, that we should have to close in this month, okay? So that all things we can uh, get the benefit in the Salesforce CPQ, right? So there is a more visibility in the CPQ. The second is like advanced configuration. in the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, if we compare to the Sales Cloud with the Salesforce CPQ, you will check that Sales Cloud and Salesforce CPQ, in the Salesforce CPQ there is an advanced configuration, right? So in which, like in the Sales Cloud, we can't do the advanced product configuration, we can't apply the product rules, we can't implement the guided selling process, right, in the system. So by using the advanced configuration, we can reduce the time of sales users, and we can reduce the time to generate the code. Okay, and as I said, in each and every Salesforce CPQ implementation, try to, like, there is a no coding required, as I said, right? But if the system, and that can be a vary on the basis of business needs, right? But if we are implementing the Salesforce CPQ project for any customer, I think there is no need of coding required. Okay, if customer is asking by itself to make a complex scenarios, or to achieve the complex scenarios, if they want to use the third party tools, or if they want to integrate their system with the another app like a NetSuite or another ERP system, or another, like, to generate the billings or invoices, some companies are using that kind of thing. So that time just we need to code, and but whenever we are going to implement the Salesforce CPQ scenarios, right, the product creation, the product rule creation, or price rule creation, there is no need that we need the coding required in the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so this is like a beneficial, that if we are making the code in the system, that will be a increase the cost of client as well as, and that will increase the cost of customer as well as. So why we need to code in the system? Because we are getting already a managed package from the Salesforce CPQ, right? So in the most of projects, any CPQ consultant or CPQ developer or CPQ architect, they avoid to do the codes in the Salesforce CPQ projects. Okay, but if there is a necessary, if customer is asking for any complex requirement, that time we just adopt the coding thing. Okay, now how to prepare for our Salesforce CPQ? Okay, before going to implement the Salesforce for any customer, right? So that time there are some points we need to consider. We need to consider that if our team is ready, who are going to be there in the Salesforce CPQ project implementation, and what are their roles in the Salesforce CPQ projects, right? So including products, pricing, right? We need the product manager who can define the prices and the product parameters for the product, right? The sales experts from the sales, the project manager, the Salesforce administrator or developer or consultant, right? And the most important, that executive sponsorship, right? So whenever we need to implement the Salesforce CPQ, we need one team and the stakeholders. The team, that doesn't mean that team would be just from the consultation or partner side. It will be from the both side, the customer side as well as at our the implementation partner side, right? So in that team, from the customer side team, we should have to include the product manager, okay, and the financial manager. Okay, so finance team, legal team, and the sales team should be there whenever we are going to take a discovery sessions with the customers, whenever we want to implement the CPQ into their systems. So we need all those teams expert, right, to take their needs and to define their requirements in the discovery sessions, right? The second is our process is ready, right? So if our process is ready or not, we can check by using if we have the templates, if we have the approval authority in the internal system, right? If we have the internal help desk is there after implementation of the Salesforce CPQ project, who is going to be support for the daily issues. Okay, because every implementation comes with the bugs, right? Every implementation comes with the bugs, so that all the things, the internal help desk will be required in the future. And it should be the existing internal help desk should be there for to give an access to any to user, right? To give an access or to revoke the access, to apply to add the additional licenses, right? So that kind of thing, all the requirements we need to ready before going to be implement the Salesforce CPQ, right? So and all these things we need to be documented. Okay, so not just and verbally. So all these things should be documented. We need the documented configuration. So what are the products configuration needs, product selections, guided selling, filter rules or selection rules, right? So what are the use cases will be there, what are the scenarios in their existing systems. All these things we need to check that our requirements are ready or not, right? So the second is like, is our data ready? So data means what kind of data? The product records, right? The pricing requirements, and whatever the plan for to integrate the legacy and external data migration for our Salesforce CPQ project. Okay, and whenever we are going to implement the Salesforce CPQ, that we can't directly implement into the production org, right? So that we need the sandbox refresh org, right? So in that sandbox we do first of all we do the implementation, we test that implementations, and after testing and all getting the approvals from the client, if it is working good in the sandbox, then we'll migrate into the production, right? So that all about, I was talking about the best practices we need to consider before going to implement any Salesforce CPQ project. Okay, now let's check like how to install the Salesforce CPQ package in our own org. Okay, so what are the methods and what are the best practices to install the Salesforce CPQ package in our existing org? Okay, so there are some points that we need to consider. There are some pre-installation steps. Okay, so in the pre-installation steps, we have just a standard Salesforce org, right? And we have now decided that we are going to implement the Salesforce CPQ, and the CPQ is not in the Salesforce standard Salesforce org. We have to install in that Salesforce by using App Exchange or by we can implement by asking to the Salesforce CPQ Salesforce product team. Okay, so installation, that I will go through the all process that how we install, and before going to installation, what are the things like we need to consider: enable email deliverability to all users, enable chatter, enable orders, and enable CRM content. That are the things we need to check before going to install the any product. Okay, so there's all the things you will find in the setup. Okay, if you go to the setup and just type the email deliverability, you will check that in the email deliverability all email access should be there as a selected. If you go to the chatter setting, there is a checkbox where we have to enable that checkbox for the chatter. Same for the order settings are there in the setups, and for same for the CRM content, there are some check boxes that we have to check before going to install the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, now there is a like step by step guide how we have where we have to go to install the Salesforce CPQ. developer.salesforce.com/sign up is it is the URL where we have to go and sign up for our fresh Salesforce org. Okay, and after that going to this URL install.steelbrick.com. Okay, we can install our Salesforce CPQ manage package in our standard Salesforce org. Okay, so I have provided this document in Google document, and I have shared it on the Google Drive. Okay, So I hope you guys, all guys, are accessible to it. Okay, so we will perform these all the steps step by step. Okay, so first of all, this is the developer edition org sign up page. Okay, so if you click on that developer.salesforce.com/sign up, you will get the the page where you can sign up for your new developer edition org. This is just a standard developer edition org, not a Salesforce CPQ org. Okay, so I have created that already. I have the developer edition org where we are going to implement, or where we are going to install the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so before, install the native CPQ package from this link. Okay, so if I am selecting, or if I'm copying this in the another tab, we have to go to the install.steelbrick.com. Steelbrick is an like the company. Okay, so the CPQ was built by the Steelbrick company. Okay, and CPQ is built totally upon the Salesforce platform. Okay, but Steelbrick is acquired by the Salesforce in earlier 2016, I think. Okay, so from that time, uh, right now, we are using the Salesforce CPQ, and Salesforce updated the name from Steelbrick to the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so when we go to the install.steelbrick.com, you will see there that the package versions name, what you need to install in your Salesforce org. Okay, that there is a Salesforce CPQ, Service Cloud for Salesforce CPQ, Salesforce Billing, right? Authorize.net for Salesforce Billing. This is like a payment link or payment third party app, right? Razor Pay, Pay Easy Pay, all advance approvals. Right now we are looking for the Salesforce CPQ. We want that, we want our Salesforce CPQ to be installed in our existing Salesforce org. Okay, so go to the, there are installation links, right? So where you want to install your product, your Salesforce CPQ package, in the production or in the sandbox. Okay, right now we don't have the production org or the sandbox org. Okay, we have the developer org, and developer org, that means that falls into the production org. Okay, so I'm going to click on the production, but whenever you are going to start your implementation, you have to first download it in your sandbox. Okay, so click on the production, then it will redirect you that where do you want your Salesforce CPQ, in which org you want your Salesforce CPQ manage to be installed. Okay, so I have created the another one, so I'm going to log in my Salesforce org. Okay, so this is login. Now it is going to be installed in our existing Salesforce standard org. Okay, now as per in the steps, it will ask you for which users or which profiles you are going to install the CPQ package. Okay, so if you want to install for admins, install for users, or install for specific profiles, it will be again dependable upon your business needs, but that is like a best standard practice to install for all users. Okay, that doesn't mean that if we are installing for all users, then all users will get an access. Okay, after selecting the install for all users, again we need to give an access to the users. We have to assign the permissions, we have to assign the license to the Salesforce CPQ users. Okay, so this is the best practice that we need to select the install for all users. Check the checkbox, there are necessary checkboxes we need to check. Install, this is like approve third party access, grant the access by checking the checkbox and continue. Okay, now it is installing and granting access to be users. it is taking it takes some time, maybe near about 1.5 hour or more than 1 hour to install in the Salesforce system. Okay, and whenever it will be installed, it gives the like a notify by the email to the system admin, right? So whoever installed that CPQ package, he will get the notification email that your CPQ package has been successfully installed. Right now it will be take some more time, so I have already a CPQ package installed in my another org, so I will show you in that another org. Okay, this is the another org where you can find, go to the setup in the install packages, right? You can see here in my org I have installed my Salesforce CPQ package, right? So yesterday I have installed it on the 15/11/2022, right? And today I am going to install it in my existing org. So this is just something that the purpose of showing you that how we can install. Okay, so that's why I have created these two orgs. Okay, so in my first org I have already created some steps, okay, to reduce the time, because uh, if we want to go forward uh, for the installation process of the CPQ, it will take more than 1 hours. Okay, so this app is taking long time to install, and it is saying you will receive an email after the installation has completed. Okay, so I'm skipping this part or skipping this org right now. Okay, and going to that org where my Salesforce CPQ package already installed. So there you can see the buttons: uninstall, configure, manage licenses. Okay, so how many licenses you want to buy from the Salesforce, where you can manage the licenses to assign the users, right? So configuration is the best and the important part whenever after getting installed the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so go to the configure. Now the next step is navigate to setup, install packages, and authorize for Steelbrick for access. Okay, so as I have already made this step in my addition. Okay, so right now this is not showing to authorize the calculation. Authorize calculation, that means our org is going to be give an access to the Salesforce CPQ to make the calculations into the standard Salesforce org. Okay, so that is just a checkbox we need to check, and click the button that authorize the calculations. Okay, so that part already I have done. Okay, whenever you will install your Salesforce CPQ package in your fresh Salesforce developer org, that time you will see that pop up into this package setting. Okay, package setting, we have navigated the package setting from the setup. Go to the setup, go to the install packages, and click on the configure. Okay, in front of the Salesforce CPQ. When we click on the configure, it will open you the setting editor for the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so there is also like after getting installation, there are some post installation step. Okay, that we need to define. So what are the post installation step? We have to go to the package setting. Right now we have in the package setting here. Okay, so in the package setting, set up the following package settings. Go to the document folder tab and quotes, and enable full page review. Okay, so document folder tab, we have to uh, get the documents in our quote folder. Okay, and there is a checkbox for the page review. Okay, and the line editor tab, we have to enable visualize product hierarchy and enable multi-line direct and subscription and renewals to the month. Okay, so that are the post installation steps in the manage package setting that we have to do. So first of all, in the documents, there is a tab, the documents, and in the documents tab there is a setting, the document folder. So where we want to choose that the folder where generated documents will be placed. Okay, so right now we are using the CPQ, so we want that each and every document is going to be generated that should be placed in the quote folder. Okay, and the full page review, that we are going to check the checkbox whenever we are opening that document, that time we need the full page preview for our document. Okay, the second is line editor changes. In that line editor we have to check the visualize product hierarchy. Why? Because to indent the components of product bundles including nested bundles. That means whenever we have the product bundles or bundles of bundles, that time we can check on the line editor that how many products and how many bundles are there. By using this checkbox we can check the product hierarchy of any nested bundle. Okay, so check this checkbox. And the third one is another setting in the line editor is enable multi-line edit. Okay, so enable multi-line edit, that means you will be accessible to edit the line items, the multiple line items at a time on the line editor. Okay, you can select 1 2 3 4 5 6 line item at a time and click on the delete button, right? Like this is the functionality same like select all or select customly in custom way by 2 or 3 and delete the button, right? So we can delete the line item records by checking this checkbox. The third one is subscription and renewals. Okay, so subscription and renewals, it is the most like important part in the package setting we have to define. So which subscription unit we are going to uh, implement in our Salesforce CPQ, right? So that subscription term unit and the subscription product precision, that both, that is the best practice, that both should be on the monthly basis. Okay, that means whatever the customer is buying to purchase, okay, so or going to purchase, that time if we have these settings in the subscription and renewals, okay, month and month, so after adding just one day and he is not using rest of the day the product or any subscription, then he will charge whole for the month. Okay, like if we have recharge, right, for our mobile data plan, it will give us the access or it will give the data for whole month, like daily 2 GB per day or whatever plan we have decided, right? But again, if we are canceling our plan, then it will not refund you whatever you have like use the data or something like that. So it is going to be charged for whole month, right? So that kind of thing we can decide, if monthly plus daily or just month, that kind of thing we can decide. So it is the best practice that in the Salesforce CPQ, but again it is definitely on the basis of business requirement, what you have to choose. Okay, and after making all the changes in the package setting, there is a save button, we have to click on the save. Now all this setting, that are the global setting for the CPQ, it will apply in the whole Salesforce CPQ system. Okay, now the second one is Salesforce CPQ permissions, right? So CPQ license and appropriate permission sets we have to assign to the permissions, right? Because if we are not applying the permissions or license to the user, they will be not able to modify the CPQ objects or fields, whatever they are going to use the objects, right? So users must have the CPQ license, right? And along with the CPQ license, user should have the permission sets. Okay, so I will just quickly go and show you that what are the permissions are there. First of all, go to the users, click on the user. uh, this is my system administrator profile, and as you know, in the developer org we get only 2 Salesforce licenses. Okay, so I'm going to click on my profile, and now I need the Salesforce CPQ license to use, right? So for that, what should I have to do? I have to go to my user profile and on the permission set license assignment. Okay, click on the edit assignments. This is the process whenever if any user is asking for the Salesforce CPQ access. Okay, so if he needs the Salesforce CPQ access, we can give him the Salesforce CPQ access in that way. Okay, so you can see there are a lot of licenses. We want the Salesforce CPQ, right? There are two, Salesforce CPQ and Salesforce CPQ advanced approval. Okay, advanced approval right now we didn't have enabled, but let's check if that works if we are checking both of them. Okay, because if we have implemented the advance approval process in our system, then we need to give an access for both for both packages, like for CPQ package as well, and for advance approval package as well. Because if we are giving a license to the CPQ user for to use the Salesforce CPQ, it will be like a necessary that he is going to be use the advance approval as well, right? So we have to check both check boxes. Now we have assigned the licenses to the customer, right? Sorry, to the user. Now we need to assign the permission sets. Okay, because we don't know which profile has been given uh, to the user. Okay, or that profile include the CPQ objects or not. We don't have the clear picture about the profile. So after assigning the permission set license assignments, we can just go to the permission sets. Okay, and assign the CPQ permission sets to the user. Okay, there are CPQ permission sets. Okay, there are different CPQ permission sets: CPQ admin, CPQ admin user, CPQ customer user. Okay, now we usually give this CPQ user permission set to the normal user. Okay, normal user means if he wants to create an opportunity, wants to create a code, the he wants to add the products to the code, right? So that are the basic access we can give. Okay, so assign the Salesforce CPQ user access, or both Salesforce CPQ user and Salesforce CPQ user access. Okay, or if sometime you want that there are many users in the system who wants to change, or who wants to access to modify all the data, like they can be create, edit, delete, or update the data in the Salesforce CPQ system. That time you can give the permission set as a CPQ admin. Okay, and save. Now this user is able to access the Salesforce CPQ application. To check for that, go to the app launcher and search for Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so in the Salesforce CPQ, you can check if I'm able to create the product or able to create any kind of any product. So you can see there I have all the access for the CPQ objects, the codes, discount schedules, code templates, product rules, dashboards, right? So all the access right now I have. So this is the thing that we need to do after installation. Okay, so we have made the package setting, we have given the CPQ permissions to the specific users. Now just we have to check that all the CPQ layouts are there in the system. Okay, so because this is very important. Okay, so the necessary fields coming with the CPQ objects, that CPQ custom objects, right? So we have to show them to the users, right, to fill the appropriate information. So that time just cross verify if you have the account page layout, opportunity page layout, the product page layout, and code page layout. So go to the system, go to the setup, and in the object manager, go to the account, check in the page layout, you will found the CPQ account layout. Okay, same for product. Okay, this is the product object. In the page layout, you can check the CPQ product layout. It is there, right? We will cross check for all our opportunity and code. In the opportunity page layout, there is a CPQ opportunity layout. Okay, and we can again assign this layout by using the page layout assignment. We can assign this layout to the specific profiles, right? So check for the code. In the code layout, we have the standard code. We need to check first that all the fields are there. Master contract, yeah, it is coming to the SBQQ code object. Okay, so this is the custom SBQQ code object, because opportunity contact sorry opportunity account and the product, there were standard objects, right? So where we needed to check that the layouts are present or not, right? So this is the custom object. It is coming with the Salesforce CPQ itself, SBQQ underscore underscore code underscore underscore C. This is, that means that is the object which has came with the Salesforce CPQ managed packet. So you will see there is only code layout, and that is by defaulted the CPQ code layout. Okay, how you can define the CPQ code? It is the CPQ code layout, because if you are seeing the contract information, discount information, the partner information, the quote option, additional text, whatever, like these fields are defining that this is the CPQ code page layout. Okay, okay, so we have done the two things, and that two important things in today's session. Okay, uh, the CPQ installation and the CPQ best practices. Okay, so that was for the today. uh, if anyone have question, they can ask me. Anybody have question?
No from my side, Irfan. So we'll install it today this pack.
Yeah, so I have given the that page. Okay, let me, you will find it into the drive. Okay, this is the folder I have given the access to everybody. Salesforce CPQ November batch. Okay, there is a two folders. One is training videos, where you will get a daily basis uploaded recording. Okay, so this is the recording for yesterday session. Again today I will upload it for the today's session. Okay, then this is the Salesforce CPQ syllabus: introduction, installation, package setting, product. Okay, all that syllabus you can find out here. Now the exercise, I'm going to create another document in our folder. Okay, now you can access this document. Installing Salesforce CPQ in Salesforce. Okay, so again one thing is I'm adding here, uh, we will have the installed CPQ package in our fresh developer org, but we need the another promotional CPQ org as well. Okay, so that link I'm going to give you, so sign up for that as well. So this is the link where you can go and you can sign up for the Salesforce CPQ org. Okay. So this will be give you directly and the already the org of the Salesforce CPQ with the data. Okay. Right now, what we have installed in our standard Salesforce org with just a metadata, right? So as on the trailhead, right, we are sign up for the org to do the trailhead modules and to do the trailhead badges. So that time we need the trailhead that org which have already the data, right, products, the already implemented the templates and product rules or whatever we need. Okay, so that things will be already there. So I will be suggest, first of all, do the practice for the installation from that links. Okay, so install first the cpq org by this way. Okay, it will be not needed for our in our Salesforce CPQ training program, but this is just for our like exercise, like how we install the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, what we need in our remaining training sessions, that is the Salesforce CPQ org. Okay, so I have put the link here. Go to that org and create your new developer org for the Salesforce CPQ. Okay, and today I'm going to, yeah, go Rajendra.
Nothing, nothing.
Okay,
Just yes, I say.
okay. uh
Irfan, I have a question here.
yes, Jay.
Yeah, see here, you are going to continue with including approval process and also billing as well, or until approval
See,
process?
this is the Salesforce CPQ syllabus. You can find out. Okay, in that I'm going to cover advanced approval. Okay, not a billing part, but I am going to take just one session on the billing part. That how we can integrate the Salesforce CPQ billing with the Salesforce billing with the Salesforce CPQ, and after generating orders, how we create the invoices, what are the billing rules, just an overview, and it will take an only one session on the billing part. Okay, not in the detail.
Okay. And one more thing, is there any using any integrated tools? Like before Quartz, CG signatures, they're really using the billing, like in sorry, Quartz integrated process? Any tool they're
For
using?
the codes,
Yeah.
okay, we will integrate the DocuSign tool. Okay, I don't
Okay.
have right like DocuSign revoke the access for the free. Okay, but I don't think so. I will check and revert you to back. Okay.
Okay. And one more thing, is there any, what is the like difference like CPQ developer and CPQ specialist and CPQ consultant?
See, CPQ developer means if you have the already and development skills, right? You know the coding, Apex, LWC, Aura, all the things you already known. Right now, you are if you are upgrading your skill by learning the Salesforce CPQ, then you will be work as a Salesforce CPQ developer. Okay, means whenever in your implementation, if there is a need of coding or if there is a need of any custom coding or to write the components, that time they will ask you instead of asking another developer, right? So that is the role of developer is playing both roles, the CPQ as well as and the development as well. But that doesn't mean whenever you are learning the Salesforce CPQ, you need the development skills, because I'm talking about myself. I'm not a developer. I'm still existing in the Salesforce ecosystem since last 4 years, and from that day one, as I started my career, I'm working on the only Salesforce CPQ projects. There was a many different roles, like I played a Salesforce BA role, a QA role, a consultant role, right? Sometimes a technical functional consultant, where I were just to sit with the client, right, and take the requirements from the client and convert that requirements, how we can convert that requirements into our CPQ solutions, right? So that kind of thing. So don't worry about that. If you have any, if you don't have the development skills, that doesn't mean you are not getting any chance to work on the CPQ projects. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm a testing background CPQ, like in a Salesforce testing. So I'm looking now Salesforce CPQ consultant my intention here space
Yeah,
here.
definitely you will get the that kind of roles as well. If you just search on the LinkedIn or Google for the Salesforce CPQ consultant role, you will get a lot of opportunities there. Okay.
Okay. And CPQ consultant and CPQ specialist both are same, right?
Both are the same. Specialist is just a term that has been provided by the
Okay,
like
okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and one more important question, announcement. So today was like just a last day for a free session. Okay. So from tomorrow, only those people will be accessed for the my next session who will be like allowed to be join the session by making the payments and uh, whatever we have the terms for the payments. Okay. After getting the confirmation of the payment, I will share the invite link with those people. Okay. So after maybe yeah, so today end of the day, okay, I will wait, and after end of the day I will revoke the access from the invite calendar and from the Google Drive access as well. Okay. So mm from today from tomorrow, if anybody wants to continue, they can reach out to me directly personally. Okay. If you have my WhatsApp number, you can reach out to me directly on WhatsApp. Okay. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks, Irfan.